Too many young people are drowning in silence, and it's not for lack of dreams, but for the price it takes to chase them. Good morning and welcome to a brand new episode of Ways Breakfast, Nigeria's #1 youthful breakfast show where we talk deep and interesting topics. My name is Oluchi Precious Omink and I've been privileged to be joined by God's Beauty Israel for an amazing segment today. Good morning, God's Beauty.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well.
I can't see.
I'm giving Sisieko vibes.
You're fine now. You're not Sisieko.
No, I actually just looked at myself in the mirror and said, okay, this is giving some African Sisieko vibes. If I was going to cast myself in a movie, I'll cast myself as that, artist, that fine girl artist that likes a fine boy artist as well. In one slump area in Lagos. And they're so creative and talented and they sing together, concerts in public spaces. I'm giving that kind of vibe.
So what would their conflict be? That they need money. Given that, they're staying in a ghetto area, so they're trying as much as possible to make funds to get to the island or to, to the big places.
Story like this, so
that's what
I think we need funds right
at
now
this point
to push our story and our movie.
Exactly. So all the producers out there, I mean, it's a wonderful
this
story.
Is fresh raw talent, spontaneous talent. We don't overthink, we don't do anything, just as it comes, straight up. But how are you doing this morning?
I'm beautiful, obviously. I'm fine. Yeah, how about you? Tell me.
I'm doing well. Today's conversation was very, very out of the blues. I mean, today we're talking about finance, money anxiety for young Nigerians, but not with the financial expert's view of it, but in a very relatable way. And that means that we want everybody out there, every young person who has some story to share, to be part of our conversation today. So we're not telling you investment and everything. We will talk about the investment part maybe on Fridays or when we focus majorly on finance and innovation. But today is more reflective because, I mean, Wednesday is also our mental health segment. And one thing that people don't even realize is that one cause of anxiety and depression is finance. So today, let's even open it up and see what exactly we are dealing with. But apart from that, I think I feel quite, I feel okay. I think the week started well for me and it's going well. I have deadlines to meet.
Mine was yesterday. I think I just sent in mine. Right now, I'm actually free as a bird.
Honestly,
I beg, they should not start delaying my own pay.
Meeting deadlines is the most annoying thing ever.
Honest.
Sometimes you've even done a work and you're expecting to get comments and they don't give you till like weeks later. And I'm like, I've moved over. I've moved on.
Oh my God.
Let's talk about something new. But I mean, that's the beauty of the work that we do. So welcome again, our viewers, to Ways Breakfast, your #1 youthful breakfast show. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll look through the papers this morning and, of course, have a little to talk about today in history. So please stay with us. We'll be right back shortly.
I describe myself as a polyhumanitarian, someone who believes politics should be rooted in love for country and empathy for its people. I'm thrilled to introduce to you Politics Uncensored, a show dedicated to tackling the political challenges that matter most to Nigerians. This is more than just a show. It's a space for honest, unfiltered conversations about the issues that shape our nation. From policy reforms to elections, leadership tussles to governance at all levels, and the overall political landscape in Nigeria, we will dive deep into how politics is impacting our everyday lives. So join me on this journey as we challenge the status quo, spark dialogue, and work together to build a brighter future for Nigeria. Let's make our voices heard and drive the change we deserve.
Viewers, it's Two Ways Breakfast. Thank you for joining us again. Remember, you're the main ingredient in all of our conversations. I would love to hear your thought for our conversation today. Our phone lines are open. Please call us on 0702-500-7749 or 0701-424-2420. We should have this number on speed dial already because we want to hear everything that you have to say. And if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, head on now to the official Upgrade TV. Click the subscribe button, like, share the link, tune into channel 145 on your Go TV, and do not miss this for anything. Let's take a look at what's trending across the world, internationally and locally, and God's beauty would lead us on that ride.
All right, straight into the Morning Post newspaper. At the top left banner, we have the full flow to a high-tech future. And at the top center banner, we have rallying call for Singapore leader. Top right banner, concern over caps on loans. Top left column, we have Beijing in call for political solution. Middle of the page, that's just right of center, we have soft resistance still exists in city. John Lee wants. Then the last headline on the newspaper, you can actually find that at the bottom half of the page. We have military parade in Beijing to mark end of Second World War. Yeah, so the headline, there are two headlines that actually catch my attention, to be honest. You know, one thing about this, I think right now I should say I'm part of, you know, the Chinese community. I really don't care if you feel a certain way about it, but I actually love the news that I actually see, you know, coming from China. So this headline says Beijing in call for political solution. Beijing has urged the United States to promote a political resolution to the Israel-Gaza conflict, warning that further military support to Israel could deepen instability in the Middle East. Now, the Chinese Foreign Ministry criticizes Washington's recent decision to send more arms to Israel, framing it as a move that escalates tension rather than foster peace, which is something we already know. I mean, we've been saying this since the beginning of this week when we found out that Trump is actually aiding Israel, not just supporting Israel, but also fighting their battle on their behalf. It's really crazy. And, you know, as a good mediator, China's position itself, you know, you can actually see now that he's I mean, they're coming out plain to say that it's one thing to say you want to support one person, but how about you just support from a distance? You know, use your mouth and not using your weapons and all. To be honest,
and
I know for sure that
violence from the other party as well.
Because I mean, I feel like Trump does not know, you know, what he's actually doing at this point, and he should just be prepared for, you know, the backlash, because I know for sure that it would happen. I mean, given that, you know, Iran themselves are not people that sleep on any matter. They're always ready. I mean, it might take a while, but of course they will come back, and their comeback, of course, will not be funny. But then, you know how it is now. When a particular head goes out of body, it's the body that, you know, takes care of it. I mean, I'm saying this to say that if anything happens eventually, it's the United States citizens that will suffer for it, and not Trump in that sense. But I just hope that he knows what's coming for him. All right, the other headline I want to take on says concern over caps on loans, and this is just to even buttress whatever conversation we'll be having today. But let me read out this detail and say this brief news item addresses growing concern about financial institutions and borrowers about tighter caps on mortgage loans and credit lending. Now, as regulatory bodies attempt to control market overheating, particularly in the real estate sector, banks and consumers alike are worried about limited access to funding. Analysts warned that stricter caps could lead to slower property sales, reduced consumer spending, and a cool down in economic activity, especially among first-time home buyers. So let me quickly break down what the story is about. Now, first off, there's something, it's just like we also have here in Nigeria, where you go to a bank and you say, please borrow me money, I want to buy a house or something, and you know, you give them something else as collateral. But in China, they do that too, right? But then the government is saying the money that, you know, these people that want to buy houses are collecting from the banks, there's so much, that's one. Then, I mean, they're not looking at putting a fixed price to what, you know, a home buyer can actually collect from the bank, which is something now they are like, if you put a specific amount, it's going to, one, probably even, you know, reduce the consumers' attraction when it comes to, you know, the retail market. That's the what's the name, the real estate market rather. So I'm looking at it, I mean, in whether the good part and the bad one, because imagine if the government comes out and say, okay, you know what, before I know you used to you know, collect any amounts, you know, to be as a loan and all of that, but right now let's put a fixed price. Let's say 5,000 naira. I'm using an example, 5,000 naira.
Okay.
But then someone that wants, you know, 10,000 naira from the bank will look at it and say, this money where you want more collect, it's too small. So how will I be able to build the duplex that I want to? So I feel like there's a good part, which is something that would actually help the economy. Given that having to borrow and having to pay, it actually even increases the price of, you know, houses and all. So that's the good part. But then looking at the other side from the, you know, the consumers, even the people, the banks themselves, because they too, they're earning from it. The interest that they put into, you know, those loans that they give to home buyers is something that helps the bank as well. So if you now say, let's put a fixed price of, you know, the amount that, you know, banks give as loan to home buyers, it's going to be very, very shaky. But then I just hope that, you know, they come to a balance and see how they can also help the banks, you know, generate funds, help the home buyers also get the right kind of house that they need, because everybody has different tastes. Do you understand?
True.
So putting a fixed price there, that fixed price might not be even the amount that we even used to get spent. Let's be realistic.
So you know when you say everybody has taste, you don't get money.
Everybody
they do taste.
I mean, that's one beautiful thing about having to get loan. Why you? I mean, it's a different. You know, one thing loan has actually helped people do is you're able to dream big. Do you understand? You're able to dream big. You're able to. I mean, just yesterday I was having a conversation with someone, and you know, it was regarding just all of these cars and all. Because I mean, imagine me having to be someone like a Brabus having to, you know, do their engines themselves, be able to modify cars, no matter what the car is, even down to Camry. They're able to modify it and make it beautiful, give you a better engine, you know, speed and all of those things you would have it. I mean, that's a lot of money, really. So for anybody that is thinking of getting a car just like me, I mean, I'm someone that will not want to settle for a Camry. So imagine having to now speak to the likes of, you know, Brabus to help you modify probably the Camry that you buy. That's a lot of money. So if you speak to them and they tell you, oh, just have 20 or 30%, you pay, then you start paying, you know, as the year goes by. Who doesn't like that idea? Exactly.
Generally, the idea I have about loans is that if you are about to loan money and it's not going to help you get money back, it's basic. As Nigerians will say it. So that's why I always take a back seat.
There's a good part and there's, you know, again, if you also look at what exactly, I think there should be a why for whatever you're collecting the loan for. And if you're able to justify it, who is the rest of the other persons? Who am I to come and tell you what to?
People can justify rubbish. They can justify extravagant lifestyle and tell you it's what I want, it is what I need, is what is okay for me to have. So using that justification to with the way words are flying.
That's the reason why the Chinese government now, they are putting on that regulatory system of putting a fixed price.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all. But it's going to be limiting when it now has to do with businesses.
You see?
Businesses, that's when it will be limited. Because those ones, they need to dream big, like you have mentioned, so they can have, enough capital to get profits back. But that's some interesting story. Let me take you through the Punch newspaper and the Guardian. The major headline for the Punch reads, project funding, execution stall over poor budget implementation. Federal government, Lagos, Ekiti, to check obstacles hindering ease of doing business. High prep yet to attain 80% restoration of Ogoni polluted environment. Fresh PDP LP defections to APC as opposition parties battle internal crisis. Above that, we see Lagos to begin digital numbering of houses from July 1st. That's going to be next week, Tuesday. Interesting stuff from Lagos. We also see 53 suspects arrested over Benue Plateau killing, says IGP. Now, that's some story that needs to really dominate the headlines, because we started the conversation earlier this week with the whole Plateau killings. And we're saying that, I think action is being carried out as we've been clamoring here. So 53 suspects have been arrested over the Benue Plateau killing, says suspects. I mean, the number is a whole lot, a number of suspects. Let's hope that the suspects are tried and justice is served. He also says here, Tinubu farmer header conflict, an opportunity for structure, social stability and food security. Honestly, I'm looking at all this news and I'm wondering which to emphasize on. But let's talk about this whole budget stuff and everything. So the Guardian full story on that particular story says the Senate seeks extension of 2024 budget implementation to December 31st. And some of the things highlighted were contractors, they review unpaid outstanding compounding bank loan interest. Banks are wary of funding public sector activities. Crisis fueled by muddled budget circles. So midway into the year and 3 months after the 2025 budget was passed into law, implementation of the fiscal document had been stalled, raising questions about the government's commitment to pull the economy out of the woods. At different levels of public sector administration, poor funding and outright non-release of funds have grounded the execution of critical projects that are expected to breathe life into the ailing economy. And the government spokesperson said the budget is being implemented as planned, but sources close to the government says otherwise, arguing that commitment to delivering on critical promises is constrained by poor financial commitment, while unpaid contractors have faced a brick wall. So the contractors, some of whom are close to the corridor of power, have taken to the social media to vent their frustrations, complaining of a slowdown in governance and poor attention to critical matters. So if I'm going to put this story in the most simplest term, like to just explain it to a 5-year-old, it's basically some projects, right, some implementation being stalled because of financial commitment from the government himself, and these contractors are people who are at the forefront of executing this project. Just think of, well, I'm not happy. Let me know is what happy. I mean, I wish that some of these projects were clearly highlighted, which particular one exactly. Just said contractors, so that means we're thinking of what kind of project can you think of that contractors would do? Maybe road project or something like that, and it's being stalled. Why? Because money is not being disbursed. And I'm wondering if this whole implementation problem is from the head or from the people that gets, not where this money flows, right? So the federal government, they just release some money, it goes through some people before it gets the contractors who are carrying out the work. So I'm wondering, these people venting out their anger, who exactly are the ones holding the money? Because it's even saying here that banks are already stalling from funding public sector activities. Do you know what it means for a bank to not have the confidence to fund a public sector activity? It shows that they've really, really lost faith in probably getting their money back. I mean, if you can trust the private company as opposed to the public sector, it shows a lot of things that are going on here. But then this is just for you to have an idea of what's going on. Really not catching my interest. The one that catches my interest, really, it's not on the Punch newspaper, but this what's her name again? We had a time we were discussing about a particular court member who was so bold and came out to make a video, criticizing certain things that were happening. And it was almost like everybody was praising her. When we had a conversation with a fellow court member as well, you remember the girl was even congratulating her, like, thank you, our savior. You are the one that made us maybe in that way, get an increase in our alari, as they call it in Nigeria here. So now, the recent story is that NYSC has extended her service here by 60 days over criticism of President Tinubu. So whilst you are hailing her, 60 days, that's 2 months, So whilst you are hailing her for being bold, assertive, and for standing up for the people, criticizing the government, as we call it, she's going to be facing a penalty of 60 days extension. Let's just put it as 2-month extension. And I'm like, if that is the consequence of getting an increased allowance, I mean, maybe. Well, that's just by the way. So let me just
but then there are no exceptions. They'll still pay her for those 2 months now.
If it's an extension, I doubt that they will pay. I doubt. But let's see, they might pay her. I mean, if they are going to pay her, what's now the point of the extension? The extension is supposed to look like a punishment that, you will now work extra without pay. So I doubt there's going to be pay. But if there's going to be pay for it, I'm sure other couples will be wanting an extension. Like, please, ma, can you give me 4-month extension? Oh my God. But honestly, I'm looking at the story and I'm wondering if this paints a bigger picture for us. How should we even treat criticism when it comes to government matters and governance matters? Should there be some wisdom applied, or should we totally back out? Because her story is one that she was overly assertive, and in today's world, they'll tell you that, talk about the government. There's this Sorosoke thing everywhere. If something is wrong, talk about it. The rise of VDM and many activists makes us feel like we have, that power with our thumb to talk about some of these things. While sometimes it feels like we're highlighting very clear, obvious challenges. How safe are we? I mean, her punishment is just an extension. What if it was something worse? What if it was detention? What if it was a huge fine that she was going to pay? And she's a young person. So that means other young people are looking at this story and they're wondering, do I really want to talk about anything related to the government? But looking at the whole story, I think criticizing or maybe calling out, I'm looking for the best word to put it, or having your own view about certain things happening in politics. We do it here on this table.
Yes, we do.
That's an example, right? But if we can apply some level of, what they call this word now, maybe discernment or wisdom in how it's being done, you would avoid some of all of this, because her criticism came out as some really harsh backlash.
Like
insulting
when
to the number one.
To her, she was making statements.
To the number one citizen of the country. Because however you criticize the president, he has that, how would they call it, the immunity or what? He's still your leader in that sense, and he's still backed up by certain principles of the law. So, of course, we need to call out some things that we're not satisfied about. I think we have the right to do that. But this is like a call to young people to be safe, so that you'll be able to call out again. If not, you shut yourself for too long. But that's all the story that we have. I'm talking about activism too. Did you see this trending story? I just saw it yesterday, and people have been saying it's not exactly trending. Maybe it happened earlier this week. So VDM took out some children for protest, because you even had to wear school uniform, right? Just identified with that demography to go do some protest over the fact that they had not gone to school. I think their teachers were on strike. And I looked at it, and me, I've never been a fan of VDM. I'm sorry, bro. You guys already know I don't like his ways as much, right? Maybe the intentions are not bad, but his ways, I always have a problem with it. So I was looking at that video yesterday. A lot of people were, of course, trust the activists behind the scene. We have two kinds of activists. The ones that are bold enough, like VDM and Ray are here,
proactive and
the ones that will cheer you up from afar. They were the ones saying that, makes sense, I like what VDM is doing. But I'm wondering if these young children needed to have been dragged into the fight, because it gives a lot of vibe. What do you think about it, though?
I feel like VDM is that person that would always want to expatiate and explain and over-explain.
Make a statement.
Exactly. And I think that's what it is, really. Even though I didn't stay too much on the video, but I already knew the message was trying to pass across, which is, how can you say that, we are in a developing country, or we are in the movement, and we have somebody, number one citizen, as you would always say, you and Okiki say that a lot.
He's the number one citizen. That's what we say. That's what is documented in the law.
Interested.
We are the number 158.
But I think, at the end of the day, you see that you still have children that are still running around. Thank God we've not heard of the ASU strike in a while. I don't know if I should say kudos to the Minister of Education. No, kudos,
honestly, for someone that experienced it for 2 years.
Exactly, and we've not heard that in a while, So these are the kind of things that we are not supposed to be seeing in the country. We have very young children. Imagine, if it's, people that are a bit grown up, maybe teenagers, I would not even question that much. But then children that normally are supposed to be in the school, because this is the time where they're supposed to be learning the normal basic things in education, and see them, working up and down aimlessly. There's nowhere to go. There's no where they are coming from. There's no destination, nothing at all. And you say you have certain people
so that
means
are working. You support. I'm not talking about...
No, this is not about support.
No. We have to look at how we even approach solution at the end of the day.
How should we approach it?
The intention, I always say, makes sense. We need to talk about why should students be at home when they ought to be in school. But the fact that they were taken out to protest and rally, and we know how very uncoordinated protests can be. We know because people are agitated, anything can just happen. And these are young people that you took out. Even though maybe there would have been some monitoring, some guidance here and there to help protect these people. But do you think that was like the best of approach to do? Because sometimes people are trying to sort a problem. If we're now somehow creating smaller problems at the end of the day, what is the solution that we're looking for exactly? So that was what I was even thinking about with the whole thing. We really need to drag these young ones. If your teachers are not in school, it's already bad. But can you learn at home? That's what I was thinking about. But of course, I stand to be corrected. But I guess that's all we can take for our conversation this morning. If any of them catches your interest, of course, you can let us know on our YouTube channel, and I will be more than glad to read every single one of them. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we're heading straight to our hot topic for today. The topic is broke, borrowing, and barely breathing, the money struggles of young Nigerians. If you can relate to this, please join us here live and direct. We'll take a short break, and we'll be back soon.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, lives a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Our topic for today, don't look at my smiles though, but this topic is one that really is, it causes a lot of emotional reaction. We've titled it Broke, Borrowing, and Barely Breathing. And God really said, it is the barely breathing for me. But honestly, when you are broke and borrowing, are you breathing at all? The money struggles of young Nigerians. Wednesday is for our mental health segment, and we know that one major cause of anxiety is financial instability. So today, let's open it up and see if we could get some solution from it. Today, we're getting into a conversation that's both deeply personal and painfully familiar, especially if you've ever sat in your room calculating how to stretch to 5 for the rest of the week, or if your heart skips a beat each time you hear, can I get a small loan till month end? We're calling it broke, borrowing, and barely breathing, the money struggles of young Nigerians. And this isn't just about account balance, it's about the emotional weight of adulthood with no manual. It's about the silent anxiety that comes with unpaid bills, rejected transfer attempts, and watching peers ball online while you can barely breathe financially. From student life to NYSC, job hunting to low-income survival, even those who look like they're doing well are often struggling behind the scenes, emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even spiritually. In a country where survival feels like a full-time job and everyone is trying to look like it's working, the question is, how are young people really coping? We're going to talk about it unfiltered, vulnerable, and yes, still entertaining, because at the end of the day, you've got to put a smile on your face. So, God's beauty.
Yes,
I know you've already mentioned that barely breathing seems like I'm stretching this a lot. Like, I'm putting some exaggerated, tone to it. But let's start even personal. What does it feel like to be broke as a young Nigerian? Because when I was looking at this topic, I know I've had financial experts here. They'll tell us, oh, there's something called investment, savings, and all the expert view to it. But that's really lovely. We've got to learn it. We're still going to learn it in coming days. But now let's bring it home. Let's make this like a vulnerable station where you as well can let us in on what's been going on. What does it feel like to be broke as a young Nigerian? Is it just financial, or there's the emotional part to it?
I don't think it's just a financial condition. I think it's probably a psychosocial crisis or something. Because if you look at it, surface level, we have you're having issues with paying of rent, food. You cannot take your girlfriend shopping. I mean, as a young girl that's supposed to be enjoying life, you cannot probably get a smoothie by yourself. Should I tell you guys? I've been postponing having to get a full pizza for myself. That's how bad it is. Since the beginning of this year, I've been saying I get pizza. See, the money comes, we look at it, say, no, let's do this one first, this one second, this one second. Oh yeah, pizza, there's no money for pizza, I'll do it next month. Next month comes, we do it down to last month. Last month was even annoying. Because it's not even last month, it was this month. So I think January was crazy because I had to get my younger sister a food. This month is crazy too because I just got my mom another, her own phone. So you see, it's crazy. So it's a lot. It's not just a financial issue. If you look at it, I mean, surface level, like I said, there's, having to pay rent, there's, having to feed yourself, having to take your girls out. It's a lot, honestly. But then when you now look at it deeply, you see that it's not just even about, not taking care of or the inability of having to even provide these things like your rent, to food. You see that it's more than that. That's where you now come to the fact that if you don't have money, your face no show, your shoe no shine. Exactly. Again, coming back to the fact that it's already a Nigerian thing too, the mentality that comes around, if you don't have money, nobody gets to even know you, who are down. Do you understand? There's that part. And that's where the problem is. And that's why I said that it's not just a financial situation or a financial condition. It's actually more than that. And of course, I'll actually agree that it's more of emotional, whatever, because that's where they see you. Your identity is by the amount of money that you have. Do you understand? And anywhere you actually go to, they are first of looking at your pocket. First of, are you smelling nice? That's what anybody is concerned about.
Or is Malam
this
perfume?
person, they smell nice. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like, even people can actually even be able to detect the kind of perfume you're actually wearing. If you're putting on probably, just like you said, one of those strong Malam perfume, they're going to say, this one. And don't go save up, go buy this thing so that thing go, they smell like this. There's so many stereotypes to even these things. Do you understand? So it's actually beyond financial issues. It's more of emotional. Because the way people actually identify you as a person is when you are able to, draw some forms like an odogo. You get it?
Honestly, you've really said everything on my mind, and usually we're always like this, but today. So I think it's actually so true. Looking at this whole thing, I was thinking that being broke has different definitions to it.
I agree, actually.
Some people, they call themselves broke just because they cannot probably afford a trip or a vacation to Maldives, to Seychelles, to Paris. Oh. That's what they call broke. And some other persons, broke is because I can't pay my rent, basic things. So even when we're talking about this topic, it will relate to different people, at different levels. But honestly, like I said firstly, it's more of an emotional thing, and it's a major cause of anxiety for people. There was this quote I saw, very random, not a quote, a meme. Okay. So the person was like, I'm not depressed. I just needed to make my hair. Do you get it?
I get it.
Then another one was like, I'm not depressed. I just wanted to see some accounts and like credit alert. Okay. And I'm like, really? So that doesn't mean that the major cause of anxiety, depression, all this mental health is not exactly all the time relationship or career based. Maybe the underlying root is money. And if it's the case, maybe we should not shy away from discussions like that, because sometimes when you talk about money, people are looking at you, are you not acting too materialistic? Why they don't open things like this out? Do you understand? Subjects like money, like sex, like you just think about it. They're subject that you talk in hushed tones towards them because people are gonna view it. I really like what this play is saying.
Come on, get that money.
I wish I could do some spell and bring it to real life.
Abracadabra.
I saw another one somewhere. Somebody said that, oh my God, I just watched the 500 naira notes in my pocket. Does anybody know how to draw Nnamdi Ezekwe? And I said, no. Social media can take away some anxiety that comes with it. But at the end of the day, it's highly emotional. Being broke. That word broke is a Nigerian coinage. So in case you're watching us from the United States of America or somewhere in Jamaica, it's a Nigerian word that means you do not have money to sort certain bills. But like I mentioned, it means different. Kosovo, in that sense, you don't have the money to run basic things. But let's even look at it. What really pains people a lot is the confidence. There's a confidence that comes with having money.
I agree.
And there's this self-esteem, what's it called? Breakage. I'm looking for the right word, please forgive me. That comes with not having money.
Yes.
And it's a very terrible one. You mentioned some things about girls trip and all. Some people, they are earning okay. And that okay can It can pay their bills, rent, send money to family. They can eat okay and be fine. The doctor will not say something is wrong with you. Do you understand? They can transport themselves around. But that's just all they can do to you. Maybe afford 1 or 2 luxurious things. But you see, then they start putting themselves in the category of broke. Why? Because they're now comparing themselves with somebody who is living in a more pristine environment. They say, this one, maybe they're even watching them do content creation from their home. And they're like, I see the status of this person's house, POP everywhere. Look at all these fine lights. And they're like, maybe I'm really, really broke. Whereas you did your best. You're working hard. You're able to save your 550,000 naira to pay your rent, and it doesn't look all flashy and glamorous. Just neat enough and conducive for you to dwell. But you compare yourself with someone, so that person can title themselves as being broke, and then it can now affect their confidence. So here in their conversation, anything that has to do with money, they probably weren't edgy before, but then they start getting edgy. One day I had to correct myself because I was comparing like 300 level, 400 level. So this is going to be very emotional, but let me just talk about it.
Tell me.
In 300 level, I had roommates that were working and schooling. And this was me that used to have 3,000 naira as pocket money. I mean, maybe 3,000, depends on how happy my mom is or how she sells markets in the week. And so it was just okay for me to get through the day. I mean, I had food stuff. It's not like I even eat a lot. You can see it from me.
I don't hear. don't let her fool you.
But that's how it was, and I was okay with it in the sense that it was just, let's just get by the day. If we need to buy some materials in school, I would call and she would deliver. Then I went into this hostel. I had people that were working. I mean, you see them all busy. In fact, they didn't have the normal kind of how do I put it, accessories, female accessories like us. We just had our tote bag. You know those tote bag feelings, sandals. There's this one we used to call anti-tie in school. Even any black person is watching, you know that's our go-to cheap, affordable sandals. And everybody is feeling well. But I had roommates that they had human hair. I had my fine eye for us, you can see. They had human hair. They had really wonderful, luxurious things as young girls. And I wasn't jealous. I was rather admiring it. I was like, oh, this is really good. These people are working hard. So me, I was already thinking, what kind of remote job can I do too? Because we were doing some remote job that was earning, that made them earn in dollars. And so they were able to afford certain luxury. I'm talking of people that were earning probably 300, 400K as at that time. Do you understand what that means? I don't even know where they were doing in Lagos, but they were there. So at the end of the day, in 400 level, I started taking some of my skills seriously. I was not earning a little. So it was me that used to just be comfortable with 3,000 naira, 4,000 naira. I was getting 50K, 70K, 80K. I think in 400 level, one of my biggest gig I had for a particular bulk content was 200K. Trust me, that was like 20 million naira for me because I've never earned that much before. But then later on, I started getting a lot of how would I put it, dissatisfaction. I wanted more. And it's not bad to want more.
Of course.
But the point is, first of all, are you even grateful for the one that you have? And the fact that you are not necessarily begging, you are able to sort some of your bills, eat well, get shawarma once in a few days.
Lord.
And you're able to do this. You were not able to do this few months ago when you were in 300 level. You were surviving on 3K and you were also fine. So what exactly makes our mindset change with money? Sometimes this whole barely surviving mindset or the anxiety that comes with it, I will first say that it comes from comparison. It comes from you trying, you know, yesterday I told you that we tried to compare our chapter 1 with someone chapter 20. So maybe because, I've gotten a bit of 150, 200, 120, like, oh, let me say, you wanted to buy, why can't I buy this human hair that this girl is having? Why can't I buy these shoes? But you have something okay, at least. So, you know, there's a whole lot to consider in this story. And I like how we're going to be very relatable in our conversation. So we'll take a short break now. And the reason is because I want to be able to read your comment on YouTube. Tell us how you felt about money. Because the next question will be how we've handled anxiety with money. So we'll be back after the short break.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlights. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week,
We share stories and conversations that define us. Navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
Welcome back, viewers. Thank you for joining us today as we discuss money anxiety for young Nigerians. Of course, you know by now that Ways Breakfast is tailored for young people, and we open up conversations that concern young people very deeply. Today, we're talking money, but not from the expert point of view, but from a very reflective and no personal point of view as well. We want to hear your comment and your view as to this conversation. So when we started, we've spoken about, the whole financial and emotional part of it. But I want us to even drag that emotional part well. And I need more stories. Have you ever felt, let me stress the anxiety, the kind of anxiety that comes with money where it affects your confidence, your sleep, maybe your health? I mean, and why do we even really talk about this side? Tell me some story.
So I remember on Friday, right? I remember
very recent. Hey.
No. What I want to say is, remember on Friday, we were talking about vulnerability, and I told you guys a story about a year ago or so how someone insulted me that I'm not able to afford certain things. I look poor, I speak poor, everything is poor, that kind of thing.
Wait, that person, I want to arrest you.
It's actually someone very close to you, funny enough.
Yay.
But then that's
this vulnerability has spread too much. But let's continue.
But past that, right? So I feel like this is something that a lot of people actually, would actually suffer from. You would have anxiety, you feel a certain way, especially when people, intend to look down on you. I mean, that's the Nigerian mentality. If you don't have money, you're invincible. If you don't have money, you're not taken, seriously. It's more like, what did this person they talk? They are not part of day one time. You get the point. But then when you see somebody with money, you intend to respect them, and that's the funny part. It's not like you're actually respecting them. You respect the fact that this person has
money.
Please, Nigeria.
So that's a lot of hypocrisy.
That's what it is, that's what it is. So I feel like it's something that a lot of people deal with. But how was I able to overcome it? I remember that day, after the whole brouhaha, I went home, I cried to my mom, So I was like, but at this point, probably this person is, first of all, probably this person is older than you. Secondly, the person must have seen something that is making them feel a certain way. What did they see? The fact that I'm making, as at that time, I think I was not making as much, And I'm like, hey, but I have you people to take care of. I have my mom, I said that I think my younger sister was still in school. I have my younger sister's fees to also, take care of. I have my dad by the side for every time that he needs money to put into his business. He will also have to call me and say, Ada, there's this small money that I will need you to drop. You get it? So it was really a lot. So taking care of myself wasn't, even my top priority. I just wanted to ensure every other person around me was well sorted. So then I was not even looking at the fact that I need to get clothes, I need to look good, I need to fix my nails, I need to get this and get that. You get the point, because I'm always more concerned. I mean, I'm a family baby. I always want to ensure that people around me is okay. That's how I work. Do you get? Before I start thinking about myself. But then my mom had to tell me, Auntie, in as much as you want to take care of us and ensure that we are okay, you have to look for yourself first. You have to look at yourself. And that was when I had to look at myself in the mirror. What exactly are you doing? Do you get it? So it was a wake-up call for me. Now, I was doing certain things. I started doing certain things differently. I started taking care of things differently. I started even managing my funds. I've always been a go-getter. You might call it ambitious. You might call it, I don't know whatever it is, but I know for sure that I'm not one of those persons that is okay with where I'm never okay where I am, no matter where it is. So there are two things. There are people that are not okay where they are, and they do everything possible to ensure that they grow. There are people that comparison is what actually pushes them, where they are comparing themselves on social media and say, wait till person put on social media, now I won't do, I won't do past this. And that one can actually be very harmful, because your why is wrong. Do you understand? But then my own why is more like a motivating factor, was something that I just wanted to be better. I just wanted to earn more. I just wanted to do better. Probably, you know, in short, I mean, get more skills, whatever it is really. So I feel like anxiety is something that happens to a lot of persons. But then it's how you are able to perceive the situation as at that time. Like I said, for me, I already understood that, okay, I wasn't earning enough. And even with that one I was earning, it was something that personally I would have been okay. But because I started doing other things than what I was doing, then I had to, you know, re-strategize. Okay, what do I need now? For me to also, and for me to be okay and ensure that people around me is okay as well, what do I do differently? And then I started, you know, going for classes. I went on doing different skills, ensuring that I do something, you know, to better, you know, whatever that I'm doing, get more money, get more clients, send proposals out, ensure that, I mean, right from time, I've never really, you know, have to question myself a lot, because I know for sure that, you know, I am gifted, right? I've never had to question, you know, gifted hands, yes, I see you. Okay. So I've never had to, you know, question myself that, oh, I cannot do this. I've always believed in myself. I've always understood that, God sweetie, there's nothing in this planet Earth that you actually cannot do. And I think that's one of the ways I was able to. Yes, I can actually.
That's the Lulu now. Please put a balance.
That's not the Lulu, to be honest.
How do you want to fly?
There's so many distances. I think there's even this what this law of gravity is something that scientists have done really, where you enter a particular space and you're able to be on air. That's you flying.
Go back to what you were saying.
It's only your money that can actually take you there, to be honest. So, I mean, to some extent, yes, with money I can fly.
I think your story is quite inspirational, and I like how you found a solution even when there was problem, you know, holding you back. So, my own philosophy for money that I've always lived by, that sometimes gets some people angry, is that I know how to abase and abound. If you're Christian, you know Paul has said this. Pressure don't usually, well, it's not like I get being overwhelmed is normal. If you're not overwhelmed as a human, there's a problem. You would at some point, just like it has different intensity for people. Some they're killing themselves, some get into acute depression that needs medical help, some are just ranting to their friends, and then the next moment they're smiling. So I think mine is just, let's just rant a little and then we'll be fine. But again, my philosophy is I've known how to abase and about. And I think I want to balance that philosophy, because what it means is that when the money is there, we use it. We're gonna spend that cash, bro. And when it is not there, I'm fine.
Manage.
I'm okay.
Oh my God. So you know it's a very risky one, yeah?
That's what I'm telling you. It's a very risky one. And I noticed it when I was in school. There are some times that I would just have one extra money somewhere and I'm like, I've arrived. I'm going to Yaba Market to buy the next fine jewelry or the next fine clothes. I'm eating the shawarma that I've been looking at from Korede Park, and I'm already feeling like, yes, what's at least 5,000 I'm spending. And everybody knows that, oh, Precious must have money. If it's now 1,000, I'm not going to cry to you. I'm going to drink my Gary very happily, hoping that, okay, this story will soon change soon. So that abasing and abounding is one philosophy I've lived by. But of course, in growing and in maturing, I realized that you have to apply wisdom even with how we spend money. And that leads me to the next question.
Tell me.
The struggles of showing off. Right? The struggle about we're talking to young people, there's that struggle of showing up. So when you were speaking firstly, you know, you mentioned about having to go on girls' trip and everything. Do you somehow find it very hard to not show up sometimes for your friends, or maybe for some things that are, how will I put it now, are expected of you in that circle? Just because you're trying to balance your funds. I've felt that way a whole lot, especially in school. You know, I've given that story here before, where I would have friends that they'll say, oh, we're going for beach party to celebrate this person's birthday. I'm like, hey, beach party, okay? How do I tell them that I am abasing at this point? I'm not abounding. And this was a very tough one for me. Oh my God. But guess what? I've heard of friends that because they can't say no, because they cannot be found not partying and vibing at this point, they'll tell you, oh really, what time is it? Don't worry, I'll be there. What are they going to do? They're going to borrow. They're going to be a pressure to someone. But again, if you look at it, the world will say you're showing up for your friends. You're always there when they need you to be. You're always celebrating with them. But there's also the part of, it ain't choke my neck. I can't breathe, bro. I'm abasing at this point. So I look at the whole thing and sometimes I'm like, how do we manage that struggle of showing up for our friends, being there for them, whilst even working on a budget. Because sometimes, I mean, different months vary. This month you have a whole lot, right? Some other months, you have to do this. And sometimes, you know, there are different bills at different times. Do you get it? So I looked at the whole thing and I'm like, this is a very dicey one. So let me hear from you.
So I feel like showing up is more like it's a Nigerian youth problem, right? Again, going back to the fact that the mentality or the definition for showing up has to be financial. If it's not a financial, you know, showing up, you know, they show up. And that's the problem. Because first off, you know, I remember we had a conversation around this concerning the Ashwebi, if you remember.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. If I don't have the funds, I'll tell you I don't have it. It's not a must to come to your wedding. I understand that you're my friend.
This statement is very tough.
Get it. It's simple. First off, you're my friend. See, that's why I'm always very concerned about people's definition to what certain words are. This person is my friend. Before your wedding, you go no say I don't show up for you. I mean, I'm a giver, yeah. There's no how you be around me without me. Even if it's normal 1 plate of rice, I go one share and make a white sweet chop. That is how I am. Exactly. So times where I don't have and I cannot come through, I would explain to you, I'll make you understand. Oh my babe, I know if you come your this thing, or I know if you buy this, you actually be, or this. If you actually, if truly you are my friend.
On loan or like
why will I call that loan?
Because you want to show for your friend.
That's what I'm saying. It is wrong. See, if you have the wrong why on why you are actually collecting loan, then I really don't see the need for it. Just like, you know, you said earlier, if I thought you want to collect loan, first of all, it should even be loan that you can actually pay for, you know, very fast. Some of these people collect loan that actually chokes them. Do you get? Collect loan that you know that in 2-3 days you are able to even pay for it. Do you understand? But I would not advise anybody collecting loan.
Look at the scenario where you have to show up for someone who has always been showing up for you.
Have I not been showing up for the person? That's the question.
You've also been showing up for the person. But you know there are some people that go over an extra. Sometimes you can't even match up to what they do. Sometimes they're like, oh my God, I'm so blessed to have you in my corner.
You've not met me.
And they need, okay, so that means there will be a balance.
That's what I'm saying. No. You've not met me. My girlfriends know these things. Our birthday is same month with mine. I'm actually even thinking, how will I show up for hers and show up for myself as well? It's going to be very chaotic. But then this is something, so to be honest, this is something already I've been battling with since last month. I've been thinking, okay, how do I do it? I know she loves this shawarma, but it's very close to her place of work. And I'm already thinking, how will I even get it to her? I'm already thinking, because I'm thinking of how to, you know, ensure that I'm taking her breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's the plan. But then I'm thinking, okay, where do I even get the breakfast? Do I buy from? She has this particular restaurant that she enjoys buying from. That is it. That's how I am. That's literally how I am built. Once I know you're for me, trust me, you're settled. It's more like, you know, the way Jesus takes care of me. Like, I already know that it's for me already, so I'm settled. You get the plan. You get it. That's what it is. So I don't believe
you settle them within your means.
Yes. I'm not one person. And that again, it also shows how you are able to carry yourself. Most of the people that even go out to go and collect loan is because you have painted a certain scenario, or you have painted a picture of who you are.
Yeah.
But when you are not, you have showed them that you are Dangote, when you are probably just one guy that is doing mechanic. I'm giving you scenarios now.
You know, we're trying to balance that ideology with what people have been saying recently, that they will address you by how you dress. I mean, there was one time I saw someone's quote. This was a very major consultant I always follow, where he said that, I mean, if you're going to show up in some places, even if it takes you to borrow to look that good, you have to, because they will firstly judge you by that. Before they grant you that contract, they're looking at the wristwatch you're holding, like you mentioned, the perfume you're wearing, and all of that. So sometimes people are even under pressure to look a certain way because the society rewards, not even like judges firstly, they reward people that look a certain way. So sometimes you can even be seeing someone looking...
Okay. These are two contexts. These are two scenarios. I'm talking about my friends, and I'm talking about people that I probably will never even meet again. I'm talking about business partners. There are two different things. There's a difference between who is your friend and who your business partner is. You have to look a certain way. You have to drop a certain kind of, you know, reputation on your business partners. They're supposed to see you in a certain way. Okay. That's the only way. If I want to give somebody a business of 2 million naira or $2 million, you cannot be wearing bedroom slippers. I would not answer you. I want to listen to you. You get it.
Yeah, I get it.
Exactly. But when it comes to your friends, these are people that are supposed to know everything about you. So if you put on bedroom slippers, you are well welcome. That's what it is.
They understand you. At the end of the day, I would say showing up for your friends concerns, regardless of your financial capacity at different times, is still possible in the sense that you can be intentional and thoughtful. Sometimes we think we have to break the bank to just show up for our friends. Sometimes the showing up you can even do to that very high value. Really. Exactly, is your presence and being someone that is always there for them. So at the end of the day, being broke isn't just about naira and kobo. It's about the silent battles young people fight just to keep going, the pressure to look okay, the fear of falling behind, the weight of unmet expectations, and it's a whole lot, honestly. But if today's conversation showed anything, is that you are not alone. So many people are figuring it out one day, one transfer, one hustle at a time. And while we may not have all the answers yet, talking about it openly and honestly is a powerful first step. So breathe, rest if you must, and keep showing up, even if you're barely breathing. We'll see you again tomorrow. We're rooting for you, and we'll keep having these conversations. Thank you for lending your voice to this conversation. Thank you for watching us, for subscribing. See you again tomorrow with another interesting conversation. Bye.